Hey guys, so we are ending our week with the last part of our packet for the week. And this part of the packet of the activity, I'm gonna go ahead and do a read aloud with you guys. And so page 1, which was living in the United States, we already did that on Tuesday and we did it together. The second part of it, you guys worked on it on your own. The third page, we completed that one using Quizzes early this morning. And the last page, which is titled Mount Vernon, I know it's cropped out a bit, but the last page, that one, I'm gonna go ahead and assist you while we're doing it, okay? So before we start, okay, I want you to take a look at your screen. And now you might have already noticed that you have two pictures. You have the one on the left side. It looks a little bit more modern, right? It looks like, okay, it's probably some recently. And then the one on the right side definitely look historic. It definitely looks old. Ms. Salazar, the color on it, yeah, you could tell it's old, okay? So basically, those observations that you just made, we're gonna just quickly go into them, maybe a couple of seconds each picture, just so we can dissect and make some detailed observations. Now let's start with the picture right here on the right side, okay? So without even knowing who these people on this picture are, just based on the text that we have in the title and the subtitle, we can already make one guess as to who this man in black might be, okay? So if you don't already know, okay, you might have read Washington. So this guy right here is George Washington, and it looks like he might be having a conversation, probably something casual with this guy right here. You see, he's kind of relaxed, leaning into the pillar, okay? You have a couple of people sitting out here. Looks like they're discussing something, or maybe possibly that might be a basket, having a picnic or sandwich or something like that. You see dogs here playing in the yard. You see some ladies here, possibly a child right there too. So you can tell this house probably looks big enough for a lot of people to live in, okay? So now it has a lot of windows, you see grassy area, there's trees, that seems to be water in the background. So those are just a couple of little things that we've already noticed just with this picture. Now, if we go to the left picture, which is our most recent modern picture, this was actually George Washington's home, which is the one you see in this picture on the right, okay? Of course, it's already had renovations, so it looks a lot neater. Now, it definitely looks clean, and there's a reason for it. And now his home and the whole property, people actually get to go visit there. It's called Mount Vernon. And so they get to go there and they get to see where Washington lived, you know, where his home was, and you know, if he had any servants or anything like that, where they lived as well, okay? And so with that being said, we're gonna move on to the next slide. And this is part of your page 4 of your assignment, okay? And it is titled Mount Vernon. Again, your screen will show the title is kind of cropped. I know, we're making the best out of it, but this is your reading selection. Now, why did Ms. Salazar put pictures up before she even read? Ours already has a little picture right here. Doesn't have any color. It looks pretty boring. So we decided to, you know what? Let's get our mind going. Let's get thinking, oh, what did I see in those pictures? You start imagining what it might have looked like, the people that lived there, and I'm gonna go back, how they dressed, you know, what took place in the house. Here we really can't see what they would drive or how they would travel, but we're thinking it might be old, maybe carriages or things like that, okay? So it gets you a little picture, it gets you a storyline, where in your mind you could already envision things. So as we read, and briefly before we start, as we read, I want you to keep those things in mind as we're reading along. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. It says, Mount Vernon was the home of George Washington. It is located in Virginia on the Potomac River, a few miles from Washington, D.C. When George Washington was not serving his country, he lived at Mount Vernon, which was then a large plantation. The main house is a large, comfortable building with white pillars. There are 19 rooms in the house. Nearly 20 smaller buildings stand at the sides and behind the mansion. Some were living quarters for the servants. Others housed farm machinery, animals, and carriages. There was also a schoolhouse, a storehouse, a smokehouse, and a dairy. Nearly everything the people on the plantation needed was grown or made there. Today, Mount Vernon stands as a national shrine. More than 1 million tourists visit it each year. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and move my screen a little bit down. So basically, this picture that is shown here, that goes along with your packet, is the house that you saw on the first slide. Okay, now the next part of your packet has a part A and it has a part B. Now part B, you will be doing that shortly, but part A, we're gonna go ahead and review it with me here, okay? Now it says, write a check mark by the things you would expect to see if you visited Mount Vernon. Now I will go ahead and make that into another question right now. You'll see it below. But as of right now, let's go ahead and review these couple of things just in case you have questions as you're doing it on your own. Okay, number one, it says things you would expect to see if you visited here. Okay, the Potomac River. Okay, I did mention that it was located nearby. So could that possibly be something that you would expect to see? Maybe. Okay, two, George Washington. Would you expect to see him if you visited there? I don't think he's still alive. Okay, so maybe, maybe not, okay? All right, you might expect to see a large house. Yeah, it was a pretty large house, so that might be another possibility. Atlantic Ocean. Did we mention anything about Atlantic Ocean? Let's think about that one for a second, okay? 5, stables. Okay, were there any clue words that were mentioned here that you would expect to see stables? That's where they keep horses, just in case we might have not known what stables are. They mentioned anything that might have given us a clue that there's horses, okay? 6, furniture used by Washington. Could we expect maybe to see things that belong to him that have been preserved, just so when people visit, you might be able to experience what it was like, what he used, where he sat. That's a possibility, okay? 7, ruins of Washington's home. That's very likely, right? We are in his house, it's renovated, but should we expect to see things maybe the way they were left behind? Possibly. Fireplaces, did they have electricity back then? Did they turn on a heater, or was it like a manual heater, fireplace? Okay, something to think about. Electric lights. Okay, that's another good point. Did they have electricity back then, or were they still using maybe lanterns, candles, things like that? Spinning wheels. Okay, maybe something was mentioned here towards the last part, starting here. Others housed farm machinery, animals, and carriages, okay? Carriages, keyword right there. Do spinning wheels, could they be useful for a carriage? Okay. 11, a garage. Could there possibly be a garage? What are garages? Okay, they typically are meant to store or for you to be able to park something. So think about that for a second. Did they have anything that could be parked? Okay, so what were there garages back then? Or is that only now? Okay, fruit trees. Okay, I know we saw a lot of trees. Is it possible that they grew their own crops there? Okay, so go back to the reading just in case you might have missed something, but there's a sentence there that says that there in the plantation, everything that they needed was found there. Okay, Buildings where servants lived. Is it a possibility we might see that, expect to see that if we were there? Okay. A smokehouse, a television set, dishes and silverware used by Washington. Okay. So below right now, you will see where you're able to check off all the things that you feel that you would expect to see. And then we're going to follow with questions on section B. Okay, see you guys shortly.